Well, I think I finally understand how CP looks at Sleepaway Camp. So Killer Klowns from Outer Space tells a story of alien clowns who land on Earth so that they can abduct humans, encase them in cotton candy, and then suck their blood through a straw. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another patron-sponsored review. This one is chosen by Jacob Ebbing. This is actually one that he requested probably about 7 or 8 months ago, but just now getting around to it because this is a movie that I'll admit the first couple of times I've seen it before, I struggled to get through it, but I wanted to make sure I sat down, gave it a fresh take, watch it start to finish, look at it through a critical eye, try to see what this movie is doing, and now, officially, my review for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So starting right off with the positives for Killer Klowns from Outer Space, this is a movie that knows exactly what it's trying to do. It is very self-aware, it is ultra corny, cheesy, B-movie silliness, and it totally goes for all that. That is not by accident in any stretch. All of the things that you could typically make fun of a movie like this for, like bad acting, cheesy dialogue, weird effects, all of that stuff, this movie does that on purpose to have its own charm. And that charm is definitely there. The appeal is there. I can totally see why this movie has been a cult classic for years, and in some ways is even kind of held up as being the king of the self-aware cheesy B movies. I also like the design of the clowns. They are creepy for certain people who are very afraid of clowns. I could totally see somebody watching this with that phobia and just not being able to even stand more than a few minutes of it. So they have that weird alien kind of sharp tooth creepiness to them, but they also have the cheesy kind of lightheartedness to them too. I could see characters like this pop up in like a Goosebumps episode and fit right in. And it's kind of neat how this movie attacks kind of circus clown tropes like cotton candy and balloon animals and shadow puppets and pies to the face and all that kind of stuff, and kind of molds all those cliches into weapons for this little B horror movie. I like that touch, and it really has this movie feel like it has its own setting. It feels like it has its own tone and its own kind of stake in the B-movie world. This is totally a carnival style, carnival themed horror film. And my final positive is that I like the fact that this is one of those movies that, in my opinion, you could easily show to kids, certain kids. As long as they're not deathly afraid of clowns, I think most kids, this is a good little gateway drug movie. You could throw this on and there's enough fun and enough goofiness and enough silliness in there to keep the tone and keep kind of the sense of dread that most horror movies go for down to a minimum so that kids could watch this and they could kind of dip their toe in the horror world while having fun and laughing all at the same time. So as somebody that encourages showing your kids horror films, depending on the kid and depending on the horror film, of course, I like that this movie exists as that nice little easy transition into that world. Now moving on into my negatives, which is really just one overall glaring negative with this movie, which is just very simple to state. Yes, this movie is intentionally corny. This movie is intentionally cheesy. It's got intentional bad dialogue and cringy acting and really silly, goofy shit throughout the entire time that was intended. Unfortunately, with every single movie that has that intention of being a bad movie for its own charm, there are certain people who are going to watch it and just not enjoy it that much. And unfortunately for Killer Klowns from Outer Space, that's going to be me. It's the same thing like I joked about in the intro with Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp is a horrible movie. By all traditional movie making standards, that movie is horrendous. But if you're in for it and you have fun with the badness of it, it's a blast. Unfortunately, that doesn't click for me with the Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I can enjoy watching it. This is not a movie that I hate, not even a movie that I dislike. It's just not a movie I enjoy. I've watched it 3 times now in my life. Every single time, actually the first time I fell asleep, but every single time I watch this, it's a movie that I'm on board for what they're doing. I just don't particularly get a whole lot of enjoyment out of it. I don't laugh at any of the goofiness. I don't really, aside from appreciating the creativity, don't really get into the circus cliches and kind of the circus tropes and everything. So as plainly as I can state it, this is just a movie that's not really made for me. And by all means, I know people love this movie. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate comments. This is not me saying that you don't deserve to like this movie or that you shouldn't recommend this movie or this movie does not have an audience. None of that. I totally understand why this movie is hailed as a cult classic. I get it. It just doesn't click for me. So hopefully you can appreciate that. I know I'm still going to get some troll comments saying, hey, whatever, you don't know anything about. Fuck off. It just doesn't work for me. It's not my type of movie. So all in all, guys, this is probably my shortest review in quite a long time, but I don't really have a whole lot to say about this movie. I think I pretty much nailed everything that there is to talk about with this. You either enjoy the goofiness or you don't enjoy the goofiness. Fortunately for me, I just end up on that side of the camp more than I am on this side of the camp. So thank you for the recommendation, Jacob. If you guys are into anything that I've described, if you like cheesy goodness, if you like B-movie, if you like science fiction, if you like clowns, definitely give it a shot because there's a lot of people who love this movie and you might be one of them. Just for me particularly, it's not really something that I think I will seek out to watch over and over and over again.
Pizza?
So if you're a fan of B-movies, if you like intentional cheesiness, self-aware humor, or you just think clowns are scary as hell and you want to see another movie with some killer clowns, hence the title, definitely check out Killer Klowns from Outer Space, but go on the safe side and wait for this thing to hit online so that you can stream it. So what do you guys think of Killer Klowns from Outer Space? Are you in the end of the camp that loves this movie, has loved it since you were a kid, grew up watching it, it's one of your guilty pleasures of all time? Or are you on the end of the camp where you get everything it's going for, it just doesn't quite click for you? Tell me where you stand on Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Thank you again, Jacob, for this recommendation. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you want to check out some social media links, check the video description below for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spreadshirt for Cody Leach merchandise like t-shirts and other good shit designed by the great Woody Bowen. And if you want to join in the fun with Jacob and choose patron requests for me to do depending on what tier you subscribe to, check out my Patreon page. The link is down in the video description for that as well. Great way to give back to this channel and help this channel grow and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only if you decide to become a patron. So check all that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.